Hello, this is Ivar from ENSLAVED. You're listening to What's Metal, Kick Ass.
So you just released a new album called Isa on a new label called Taboo. So what was the reason for you to change from Osmosa to Taboo Records after, I believe, 10 years and 6 long players?
As you said, we've been on Osmos for 10 years. It was good. They kept every obligation. There was no bad blood between us and the label, but we were preparing to do a new album. We had a new lineup, and we felt like we wanted to try also to change the label. Taboo is a smaller label, maybe in Europe. It's not so known. The Isa is the release number 7 from Taboo. So it's quite new, but what we needed was to find a label which could work more enthusiastically with Enslaved material.
A little backwards in time and start with your debut that came out on Candlelight. It was a split LP together with Emperor. And your overall impression about that album, if you make it very brief.
And that was the first recording, the mini LP. It's I guess one of the things that I'm most proud of. It was very early in the career. The band has only been existing for 1 year when we got the offer to do a split CD with Emperor, which was also a very new band then. So very limited budget. We went into a pop studio where we lived. They didn't understand shit what we were doing, but we just did our best, And I think it turned out good, and I think it also turned out to be an important release in what became, the extreme metal scene. Even now people listen to it. We play songs from it, and it's still important for us, and I think still very important to the fans. After that came Viking Metal, which was the first full length after the mini LP, which I think we found the kind of, the epic thing with Enslaved. I think it's the most epic release we had, very long songs, very atmospheric lyrics, had a lot of nature, and also it was the first album to really take hold of this, the northern mysticism and magic and everything.
If I may interrupt you, you were maybe together with Emperor the first act who could incorporate keyboards into your musical vision. So what was the reason for that?
It was actually, I was listening, besides black metal and death metal, I was listening quite much to German synth music from the 70s, like Edgar, Fröse, Klaus Schulze, Tangerine Dream, and also to British stuff like Brian Eno and David Bowie and stuff, experimental stuff they had been doing. And we liked that kind of, the sound had a certain influence on us. It had the same thing like in black metal, a very cold and sometimes strange, dark feeling to it. And we wanted to add this to the music. I think we've always used the keyboards a little bit different from many other black metal bands. Not so much symphony and stuff like that, more atmospheric and a colder keyboard sounds.
I think your breakthrough was in '94 with your Frost album.
Then came Frost, which was, I think, the first time when we really took a longer time to plan everything, and we had, done a full length and wanted to do our own sound. I think this is the first album where you can hear, especially on the guitars, what became the typical sound for Enslaved. Even now, you can put on any record and people recognize it very easily from the guitars, I think. And Frost was a special album to do. The northern thing came even more evident. It was released on Osmos in France, which was really becoming an important label in those days. They had done Immortal and Impale Nazarene, Marduk. And that was, as you say, the breakthrough album. We did our first European tour after that. Actually, today is 10 years. February 1995. We started the Winter War Tour in Germany. So, hello, this is Ivar from Enslaved. You're still listening to What's Metal. Coming up is a song, a favorite of mine from the album Eld. It's called Glemt. Actually, Eld is a long time after. It's 97, from 94 to 97. That was maybe the start of the most difficult period for the band, because after Frost and the touring, we saw that we were moving in different directions. We wanted to do something different from Trim, the drummer. We wanted to maybe go down a little bit with the tempo and work with more progressive stuff, like we did on Eld. And but luckily for him, he started in Emperor, which was a good thing. So the 3 years was us looking around for drummers. There was not a lot of bands those days, and not so many drummers who could do the stuff we wanted to do.
With that follow-up, Lotham, you became once again more angry and aggressive, I believe.
For me, it's the strangest album we've done. I still have a little bit of difficulty understanding why that album sounded like it did. It was due to, after Eld, we lost the drummer again, and we got a new lineup with the Dutch rap from Gehenna and Roy Kronheim, which were both of them were very much into the more aggressive and extreme style, you know. And they were also part in pushing the songwriting in that direction. And in a way, it was also a reaction because Eld became very quiet in a way, and we felt like we had a lot of material, more aggressive stuff that we wanted to finish because it was there, but we wanted to put it in a sort of a context, a concept, a complete album in that style, and that became Blodam. So it's the album that I think fits the least into the catalog, but it still needs to be there. It explains a lot of the roots of Enslaved, that we also come from this kind of more aggressive black metal background.
So, and with this successor Madraum, you once became again more experimental and melodic. So we have a big contrast between those two albums.
Yes, that's the very schizophrenic period. But after Blodam, we felt like we finished that period, you know, that we got all the fast stuff and all the extreme stuff in a certain way out of our system. And we felt now it was time to experiment more, like we've started on Eld, and see how far we could take it. And we thought, okay, there's been a lot of controversy and discussion about the discography of Enslaved. People have meanings and everything, but now we needed to just close our eyes and ears for the world and try and make an album to experiment and see what we could do to sort of realize our own dreams about the band. And to our big surprise, people really got into it. Lots of new people found it interesting with the vibe on the album, but also a lot of the old fans from the first, from the mini LP and Viking Metal and Frost really found this mixture really good. I think it was the first time we really found a good balance between the old and the new Enslaved.
What was your goal for the follow-up Monumension? You could have tried to consolidate your style.
I think you could see Monumension as the first album in a sort of trilogy for the new sound of Enslaved. For me personally, I think some of the stuff Monumension went too far in the experimental direction, which I think we corrected in a way on Below the Lights. But it was also a very important album. It was, for me, Monumension is the opposite from Blue M. Blue M took all the extreme stuff, all the rule book, black metal things to the extreme, while Monumension broke every rule. There was 70s rock there, a song, Entrance Escape, almost like ballad sounding, some Pink Floyd influences. So it was a bit of the opposite, but it really gave us confidence that we could master and develop a style outside what we had been doing.
2003 we got Below the Lights. So your overall impression of that album is?
I was really, really, really satisfied with Below the Lights. The idea for the album, the vision, was to take the best from the experimental things that we had been doing, but also to go a little bit back, to incorporate again the roots from the old, to have a darker sound, to a more gloomy atmosphere, and that's reflected in everything. I think the lyrics, the title Below the Lights, and the sound of the album. It's raw, it's darker, and it's sort of sort of a hidden aggression, I think, that we've developed. For the first time last year, I met a guy from Bifrost, which is a religious society in Norway. They don't look like Vikings, all of them, but I met one of the guys looking like Vikings because he was I've seen it on many of ENSLAVED shows, and he was telling me he had been part of this society for so long. And I said, you guys must be pretty annoyed with a band like ENSLAVED, because all the time we use our own interpretations, we mix it with contemporary psychology, and he said, no, it's highly accepted because that's within the religious society. They think that is the point with paganism, to try and take it to new places, to make interpretations. Bit in a strange corner of the pagan movement, but I think it's important to have sort of the mutations to develop it, or else we will all just become a bunch of people, with big beards sitting in the woods and making strange brews, running around naked. But for us, it's more, we want to do it in our way. We want to show that it is alive and it's vital today. We don't want to move time backwards. It's fine.
Do you still have an eye on the black Viking metal scene? It's what's going out around in Norway, and I'm asking you because while the recording of Isa, you incorporated Abbas and Nocturno Culto to play on your record. Was this something that came along, or was it really planned to reach a new level?
It's we were very much involved in the scene. Myself, I work a lot of the year with as a production manager for a festival called Hole in the Sky in Bergen. So we listen to music all the time, try to find new bands as well as the old ones, of course. So that's the way to keep updated. The plan with Abbat, he's from the same city, Immortal, and the other guitarist in ENSLAVED is playing now in his new band without a name. We just asked all these people, and they said, yeah. That's a very proud moment for us. It's something we wanted to do for so many times. It's good to have it because they make the songs better, and also it's a way of us to paying tribute to those bands, Immortal and Dark.
Okay, that leads us straight to the question of our show: what's metal for you? Music, lifestyle, maybe more?
The whole lifestyle, the community of not only metal, but the whole community of musicians, or the music society in a way. To have it as, of course, you have your girlfriends or your wives, your children, all that. The family will always be the first thing in my life, but to have an interest such as metal, to be able to play it, listen to it. When I don't play festivals, I go to festivals myself. I bring my tent and I lie around on the ground being shit drunk for 3 days. I love it. And you listen to music like Wacken and stuff like that. It's
You play on Roskilde, is it right?
We're playing Roskilde this year. So now I'm not going as a tourist, but as playing myself. I'm going to save some money on not buying the beer this time. So metal for me, I guess it's the whole package, the lifestyle and everything.